Your voice, nowhere to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss the wake-up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the queen makes it make sense. So true. Sex game, my kick, the words, my baby, can't even only be money saves. It's like an earthquake, I'm calling you out. Create a constant, just get it from the ground. Such a nice place, just a more for all.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. I almost said your morning wake-up call. Okay, so as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and like and share this video. Okay, I'm going to play another song while we're waiting for more people to join. Okay, so just be patient.
Difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you? You know you done fucked up.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. Okay. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Night Vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, now listen, I had somebody complaining about my intro earlier. Let me just say this. At the end of the day, if you don't like the intro, if it's too long for you to wait, well, you can always catch it on the replay, or you can just fast forward. Okay, that's what you can do, because the Queen's going to play intros. At the end of the day, I do that for you all, not for me, so that it gives people a chance to get in, so people are not coming in late and missing anything. Okay, that's what that's for. Also, it's entertaining. All right, please pay attention. Now, that all being said, let's see who's in here. Above all that drama, Samantha, Pearly. Okay, Coco V is in the house. Buckhorse DC, Red Wine, that's G. Did I see Too Strong up in here? Shout out to Too Strong. You all make sure you're following Too Strong's channel, okay? He has wonderful information. All right, Aqua Girl Rising, JC, Pearly, M is here. To hear, I hope I said that right. Sandy is here. Samantha. Okay, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about it because let me tell you all, this lady who filed the lawsuit against Diddy, whose attorney is Ariel Mitchell, the one that I told you I think is very sketchy and needs to be looked at with the whole side eye. The woman that says that she doesn't really recall what happened or who did what, but she remembers being drugged. Well, this woman might be just as nefarious as Diddy, as far as I'm concerned, as it pertains to violence. Okay? Now, I'm not saying she is as violent as Diddy, but she just might be. Please pay attention. That's her right there. This is Miss LaTroya Grayson, okay? Now, Miss LaTroya Grayson, see, in my opinion, if Diddy, in fact, did anything to this young lady, he may have almost effed around and found out, is all I'm saying. Because here's the thing. Now, it says here that Miss LaTroya Grayson was in fact arrested. And this is from 2015. She was arrested after police say that she stabbed another woman during an argument over a DVD player. Okay. Sounds nefarious is all I'm saying. Now, she was booked into the Tulsa jail on a complaint of assault with a deadly weapon, according to records. Okay, police were called at about 12:30 a.m. to the Fairmont Terrace Apartments and the 1000 block of East 60th Street to investigate a reported stabbing. According to the arrest report, the victim told police that Grayson stabbed her with a knife after the two argued over the use of a DVD player that reportedly belonged to the woman. Now, when questioned by detectives, Grayson claimed that she grabbed a knife from her kitchen, only to defend herself from the woman who was also carrying a knife. Honey, this is all ghetto. Now, didn't you all, in fact, say earlier when we watched that interview where she refused to tell us what the tea was? I was just sitting there telling us all to read the lawsuit, and we're wondering, why are you even doing an interview if you're not going to say anything, lady? But anyway, didn't you all say that that was ghetto? Well, clearly it is. Two people out here with knives and all that over a DVD player, no less. Okay, sounds nefarious. However, police determined that Grayson was the aggressor, okay, after she left a position of safety to attack the woman. All of this over a DVD player. Okay, so I have several questions for Miss Grayson, is all I'm saying. I have several questions. All right, now I'm just wondering. Hey, OG Patrice, hold on. Above all that drama said tacky. I mean, it just sounds tacky to me, honey. I'm not doing all of that over a DVD player. But anyway, wonder why she didn't do something that night. Okay, listen, her story just sounds sketchy to me already. And also the fact that she has Ariel Mitchell representing her, I have several questions. That's why I decided to get this lawsuit so we can take a stab at it. Pun intended. Please pay attention. Okay, so let's get into it. This is all nefarious. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me share my screen. Okay, we're going to go through the 45 pages of this lawsuit and see what we can find out. See if the story's adding up. Okay, let's see if this story's adding up. All right. So LaTroya Grayson. Of course, she's suing Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy, all of his aliases, Atlantic Records, Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, and so on and so forth. All right, so plaintiff LaTroya Grayson, or Miss Grayson, by and through her attorneys, have hereby alleges and avers of the defendant Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, and all of his aliases. Okay, we're going to skip past all of that. Now, on November the 16th of 2023, Cassandra Ventura, aka Cassie, filed a 35-page lawsuit in which she exposed defendant Combs of subjecting her to nearly a decade of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. Okay, we're going to skip through all the preliminaries where they just reiterate previous filings in the case, because this is 45 pages. We're going to get to the factual allegations. Okay, so let's start. Let me see what this is right here. Yeah, we're going to just scroll on down to the factual allegations. No need to go through all this rigmarole. Okay, so let's start right here where she got her tickets to Delta after she won the competition at the radio station or what have you. Okay, so it says defendant Atlantic Recording Corporation is a domestic business corporation licensed to. Okay, let's get past that. She's also suing Delta Airlines, which I think is absolutely crazy because how is it their fault that something happened to her once she arrived at her destination? Okay, here we go. Plaintiff is an individual who is a citizen of the United States and a resident and domiciled in Oklahoma. Plaintiff at all times relevant to the action was a resident and domiciled in the state of Oklahoma. Plaintiff at all times relevant to the action was 23 years old at the time. Now, plaintiff had never traveled to New York City prior to the events described herein and otherwise would not have traveled to New York City without being enticed by the scheme of the defendants. Now, I have questions about this already. Are you all hearing this? Enticed by the scheme of the defendants when she said that they called into a radio show and they won a prize. How was that a scheme? But let me continue. Plaintiff was the guest of her half sibling who won the contest on defendant's KJAMZ's radio station and agreed to accompany her sibling on what she believed to be legitimate all expenses paid trip to a Diddy white party in New York in 2006, and her life has been detrimentally impacted ever since. Now, in late 2006, defendant KJAMZ began promoting a contest on its radio station 105.3 Jams in Oklahoma, sponsored by defendant Combs, as well as BBE, Atlantic, and Delta, offering the winner a prize of all expense paid vacation for two to New York City to attend a Diddy white party. Now, at this point, defendant Combs' white parties were legendary and ongoing as they had begun in 1998 and were in full swing in 2006. Eagerly, plaintiff and her sibling tried to win the KJAMZ radio contest. Eventually, plaintiff's sibling was able to win the contest. Now, the contest included round-trip airfare for the winner and a guest, one hotel room in New York, and 2 tickets to attend Diddy's white party in New York. Upon information and belief, this was not a traditional white party thrown by defendant Combs, as those typically occurred during Labor Day holiday, but a separate promotional party. Now, initially, the party was scheduled for October the 6th of 2006, but was then rescheduled without warning or explanation. Plaintiff received an initial letter from Atlantic providing instructions on how to attend the party and the details of the party, dated for the original date of the white party. And here she provides a receipt. I'm sure you all can barely see that because I can barely see it. It's quite small. That's apparently her invitation. Now, the party was then rescheduled for October the 16th of 2006. Plaintiff was provided a plane ticket issued by Delta for departure on October the 16th of 2006 from Tulsa to New York JFK Airport, returning to Tulsa the next day on October the 17th of 2006. And there you can see her tickets. Now, in addition to the date of the party being rescheduled, the theme of the party was also changed from a white party to a black party. Due to the change of required color attire to attend the party, plaintiff was forced to purchase a new outfit that was within the new theme and dress requirements for admittance. Plaintiff and her sibling had never been to New York City and were very excited about their trip and their attendance at a celebrity party hosted by defendant Combs. Plaintiff and her sibling rented a limousine to transport them from the airport to the hotel in an effort to make the most of their free trip. Upon arrival in New York City, plaintiff checked into the pre-arranged hotel, the Roger Smith Hotel. Plaintiff was required to pay a cash deposit to the hotel, which was provided and paid by Atlantic. Now, as you can see here are the receipts. Okay, that's obviously from what they when they paid their deposit for the hotel. That's what that is. Now, the black party. Plaintiff changed into her requisite requisite black outfit and met the transportation van arranged by Atlantic employee Mike Savas downstairs at the hotel. Along with plaintiff in the transportation van arranged by Atlantic employee Mike Savas were several other contest winners who won the same contest in their home cities and were subsequently flown to New York as radio contest winners for this Diddy Black Party. Upon arrival at the location where the Black Party was thrown, plaintiff and the other contest winners were forced to wait in line for entrance to the party. She says they were forced to wait in line. I'm sure everybody had to wait, except for the famous people. Plaintiff and other contest winners were approved for entry by security based on their appearances and their attire. Now, we've heard this all before. I want you all to pay attention because there was someone else who alleged in their filing that, in fact, Diddy wanted them to wear a certain type of cocktail dress that was short with cleavage showing, and they had to have on 6-inch stilettos. Okay. Now, after waiting in the line for approximately 45 minutes, plaintiff was finally granted entry into the party. Even though plaintiff was granted entry, her sibling was not. And plaintiff was separated from her sibling before realizing her sibling had not also granted entry into the party. Now, I want you all to pay attention and think about this because this sounds a little sketchy. She says that she didn't realize until after she gained entry that her sibling wasn't there. Now, if you went there with somebody, a friend, but especially your sibling, you mean to tell me you're not going to be standing right there beside them? You're in the line together and you don't even realize that they're not in? And you were allowed in, but they weren't. So if you didn't realize that they weren't in there with you until after the fact, how did you know that it was because they weren't allowed in? I just have several questions. She probably left that girl high and dry and just went on in to have her own fun. But I digress. Now, plaintiff did not see, nor does she remember seeing her sibling at the party during plaintiff's time inside the party. While inside the party, plaintiff took pictures with some of the celebrities in attendance, including rappers Babs from Making the Band and Bone Crusher. Okay, so here are the pictures of her with Babs and Bone Crusher. All right. Now, I'm willing to bet, now this is just me, I'm willing to bet that once they told her sibling she couldn't come in, she just went on in without her. Said, girl, I'm sorry they won't let you in, but honey, at least one of us needs to have fun. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, she needs to sit down somewhere. But let me continue. Now, while at the party, there was no bar for partygoers to get drinks. Instead, pre-made drinks were being circulated throughout the party by waitresses. Okay, there are some of the people at the party, as you can see. Now, after less than 2 pre-made drinks provided by the waitresses, plaintiff began to feel sick and tried to go to the restroom. And I guess these ladies in the black with the little cleavage and stuff showing, those are likely the wait staff, okay? So she got sick and tried to go to the restroom. The next memory plaintiff has is awaking at St. Vincent's Medical Center of New York. And here is her medical documentation. It's very small, but it does say St. Vincent's Medical Center of New York. It's so small, I can't see the dates, but nonetheless, that's her receipt, I guess. So clearly she was taken to the hospital. Now, plaintiff has no memory or no recollection on how she ended up at the hospital. When plaintiff regained consciousness at the hospital, she noticed her shirt was ripped, her underwear were missing, and she was not wearing any shoes. And the money that she had traveled with was stolen. So she got robbed too. This is all nefarious. The only money plaintiff had remaining was a $20 bill. Plaintiff was admitted to the St. Vincent's Hospital, treated and released. Now, this does have the date on it. I can see here, this is her wristband. The little band that they give you when you go to the hospital and you're admitted. It has her name on here, LaTroya Grayson, and then it has 10/17/06. So that's her receipts. Now, upon her release from the hospital, plaintiff, a tourist, had no way of knowing how to return to her hotel as smartphones were not commonplace at the time. Plaintiff remained in the waiting area of the lobby of the hospital after her release for so long that she was eventually forced out by hospital security. Plaintiff was able to find a book of matches in her purse bearing the name of the hotel she was domiciled. Now, plaintiff then hailed a taxi and returned to the hotel using the $20 bill she had left in her purse. When plaintiff returned to her hotel, she called a friend and explained she was not sure what happened to her. But plaintiff believed that she was drugged, assaulted, robbed, and with no memory of how she arrived at the hospital, as her last memory was being at Diddy's black party. Now, my question is, where was her sibling throughout all of this? And you see, that's absolutely why she shouldn't have gone in there by herself. That's why she should not have gone in there by herself. I would never have done that. I would leave my friend or sibling outside anyway. Now, plaintiff had virtually no time to process or further determine what happened to her, as her flight back to Oklahoma left at 3:50 p.m. October the 17th at 2024, less than 24 hours after plaintiff arrived in New York City. And there is her Delta ticket. The day after plaintiff returned home from New York, she received a call from a New York area code with an anonymous female caller. The anonymous female caller asked to speak to plaintiff. The anonymous female caller then threatened plaintiff, telling her that any attempts to pursue anything about plaintiff's assault would be futile because defendant Combs was a celebrity and that plaintiff would just be wasting her time. Wonder how they got her phone number. Plaintiff was confused and scared as she did not know what happened to her. Plaintiff hearing from this anonymous female caller was further jarring and traumatizing as plaintiff learned that not only was she viciously assaulted, leading to her waking up at the hospital, but that defendant Combs was involved and plaintiff would be unable to seek justice for her injuries because of defendant Combs' celebrity status. Now, here's my next question. So if she was assaulted and taken to the hospital, as we can see that she had the receipts for that, the hospital staff didn't tell her what condition she was in when she arrived. They didn't tell her who dropped her off or anything like that. How did she end up there? They didn't give her any indication of how she arrived at the hospital. And if she was assaulted, they didn't take a grape kit. They didn't do one of those because surely they should have been able to tell that that had happened to her, I would think, especially by the fact that her blouse was ripped. She had on no underwear and was clearly unconscious. And also, like I said, who dropped her off? So anyway, let's continue. So when plaintiff tried to ask the anonymous female caller her name and how she obtained plaintiff's phone number, the anonymous female caller hung up. When plaintiff tried to call the number back, the number was disconnected. How long did she take to call it back? For approximately a week after plaintiff returned home, she felt constant pain in the inside and outside of her vajayjay. Pain she believed was from rough intercourse. However, plaintiff had no memory of engaging in intercourse with anyone. This is given blink twice, you guys. Clearly given blink twice. Now, I'm not saying that she's getting this from Blink Twice. I'm just saying that if this all really happened, that's likely why they made that nefarious movie. Now, plaintiff did not seek medical treatment or otherwise report her assault to law enforcement because she was scared and confused. First, because she did not know exactly what happened to her. Second, because of the threats that she received from the anonymous female caller of defendant Combs' involvement and it being a waste of time due to his celebrity status. Plaintiff became severely depressed and felt shame despite not fully remembering what happened to her. Plaintiff felt betrayed by defendants, specifically defendant Combs, Atlantic, and KJAMZ, because she believed attending a party thrown by defendant Combs would be a safe environment. Plaintiff felt betrayed by defendants Atlantic and KJAMZ or KJAMS because they failed to protect her despite creating, promoting, and financing a contest that led to her injuries and lured her to an unsafe place without warning. First of all, okay, I'm sorry. She needs to stop trying to act like somebody lured her there. Because first of all, she's not the one who won. Her sibling won. So if anything, if anyone was lured, it would have been her sibling. That's for number one. But how are you lured when you literally entered a contest and you won and you decided to go? Okay, that's all I'm saying. Ariel Mitchell Kidd and her lawsuits are just, they're just sketchy to me. But let's continue. So the assault and fear after the assault led plaintiff into a tailspin of anxiety and depression. Plaintiff was unable to maintain employment or otherwise to be a productive member of society for at least a year after her assault and battery in New York City. Plaintiff believes defendants committed the assault and battery against her solely because of her gender. Plaintiff has been reminded of her assault by defendant Combs, as he is an inescapable presence in music, television, and film. Plaintiff has also experienced intimacy issues, struggling to maintain emotional and romantic relationships. Defendant Combs has altered the trajectory of plaintiff's life. Now, I wonder if this had anything to do, this trauma that she's claiming to have experienced, I'm just wondering if this had anything to do with her getting so mad that she stabbed that woman over a DVD player. I have several questions, but let's continue. To this day, plaintiff experiences bouts of depression, anxiety, body image issues, feelings of worthlessness, and intimacy issues because of her trauma stemming from her assault. Well, now we know that this didn't have anything to do with the stabbing, because she named all of these things that this trauma has caused her. But one thing that she didn't mention is violence. Okay, she didn't say anything about this giving her a propensity towards violence. Okay. Plaintiff feared further violence and or retaliation from defendant Combs, however, in filing this lawsuit. But since defendant Combs has been incarcerated with no bond, plaintiff feels safe to seek redress from her injuries. Honey, I don't think she was scared of Diddy. She already knifed somebody over a DVD player. But let's continue. Plaintiff seeks justice for herself and for any other defendant Combs victims, including the countless victims who have already filed suit against defendant. Plaintiff incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. Defendants' RICO orchestrators are 100% liable for the actions of defendant Combs. Defendants financially benefited through their partnership with defendant Combs. The RICO orchestrators provided defendant Combs with unfettered access to resources and failed to adequately investigate, supervise, and or monitor how those resources were being used, who was using those resources, and the purpose of use of those resources. The support provided by RICO orchestrators to defendant Combs was a lifeline that spearheaded maintained the defendant Combs's depraved actions. Upon information and belief, the establishment of a business relationship with a prominent record label, Atlantic, prominent common carriers, Delta, and Roger Smith Hotel, allowed for a distribution platform for all defendant Combs's business endeavors to disguise his true intentions with overly broad and vague in nature description of activities. Defendants knew or should have known that defendant Combs had no intention to utilize the resources he received from business-related purposes, and they did not put any mechanism in place to ensure that their resources, specifically their publication, were not being used for an illegal activity. Defendants' willful blindness resulted in plaintiffs suffering the harm detailed herein. Here's my question. At the end of the day, I'm just wondering why those documents included in the lawsuit filing, why they're so small. You can't read them. You can't clearly see what's on them. I would like to know specifically, what did they find wrong with her when she went to the hospital? I mean, how do we know that she was assaulted? I mean, yes, she supposedly ended up in the hospital, but what was the problem when she got there? What did they diagnose her with? What did they treat her for? I would like to know these things. Because that's important as far as I'm concerned. And again, no grape kit was taken. None whatsoever. Okay, HCY Project says she can't put Puffy there. Right. She can't place him at the scene. Roddy says knife somebody over Blu-rays. DVD is crazy work. It absolutely is. Okay. Red Wine Entertainment said good questions. Dan says right. I just have questions. Okay. I'm just thinking critically, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is, how do we know that she was assaulted? And, she can't remember a single thing. Well, that's very interesting. And she doesn't seem to mention anything else about her sibling. She doesn't seem to mention anything else about her sibling. So I just have questions as to, did they go home together? Was her sibling back at the hotel when she arrived? Did her sibling ask her what happened to her and where did she go between her leaving the party and ended up in the hospital? So anyway, let's continue. So defendants are individuals and entities within the meaning of person as defined in, we're going to skip over the statutes. Now it says, because each is capable of holding and does hold a legal or beneficial interest in property. The RICO Orchestrators Association was composed of defendants Combs, BBE, Atlantic, Savas, Delta, K-Jamps, Hotel, and Doe's. In the relevant part, 18 U.S. Code 1961 defines a racketeering activity as any act or threat involving murder, kidnapping, gambling, arson, robbery, bribery, extortion, dealing in obscene manner, or dealing in a controlled substance or illicit chemical as defined in Section 102 of the Controlled Substances Act, which is chargeable under state law and punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year. B, any act which is indictable under any of the following provisions of Title 18, United States Code, Section 933, relating to trafficking in firearms. Okay, then it goes on to list a myriad of other things. Now, goes on to say, plaintiff in its pleading has detailed acts by defendants which are prohibited under 18 U.S.C. Statute 16 or 1962. Defendants have unlawfully increased their profits by luring and deceiving individuals such as plaintiff under false pretenses for plaintiff's personal desires, deviances, and gain. The RICO enterprise activities affected interstate commerce is comprised of an association of persons, including each defendant and other unnamed co-conspirators herein. That association was structured by various agreements, deals, contracts, and non-contractual relationships between the defendants, by which defendants assumed different roles in knowingly and directly or indirectly participating in the acts necessary to carry out the directives of the enterprise. As detailed herein, plaintiff was a guest of a contest winner who won an expenses paid trip to New York City to attend a Diddy party. Defendant Atlantic arranged for travel of plaintiff with defendant Delta and lodging accommodations with defendant Hotel. Defendant Atlantic further arranged for transportation to the party while providing no transportation from the party. Well, but didn't she say they rented a limo themselves? Defendants all share a common purpose: to use deception, coercion, force, and the threat of violence to enrich themselves to or at the expense of individuals like the plaintiff. As set forth herein, although all defendants may not have directly threatened, coerced, forced, or violently threatened plaintiff, they financially benefited from the scheme. It is reasonable to believe defendants would not have engaged in these acts of threats, but for the existence of the RICO scheme and their understanding that they would have unfettered access to engage in their illegal and corrupt enterprise without question. As evidenced in plaintiff's complaint herein, defendants all orchestrated, participated, managed, and executed the RICO enterprise. Sorry, this sounds like a reach to me. To me, this all sounds like a reach. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you all think this sounds valid? What do you all have to say about this? I have several questions still. This just sounds like a reach. I mean, I just have too many questions about this whole thing. First of all, the person that called her, okay, how do we know that someone really called her just because she said so? How did this person get her number? And why would somebody call and say something about Diddy when she clearly didn't even know who did what? Why would they call and say Diddy specifically, like they're telling on him? Are you not hearing this? Am I the only one that's catching this? I mean, do you all think that sounds sketchy or what? Okay, I just have questions. Because she says this person called her and said, don't try to report this. Why would they call her after she left New York? It would seem to me that they would have called her at the hotel before she left. I mean, if they took her to the hospital and dumped her there, then likely they could have just called the hospital to see if she had left and then called the hotel. They could have called the hotel to see if she checked out. Because trust me, if they made the flight arrangements and paid for the travel expenses and all of that and booked the hotel for them, then they know when she was supposed to be checking out. So why wouldn't this person have called the hotel to tell her that she better not call or she better not talk? Because she was actively right there in New York. Why would they wait until she's already taken a flight back to Oklahoma and no longer is even in the vicinity, and then call her telling her she better not mention it, and then say Diddy's name? I mean, do you all think it makes sense? Because I clearly have questions. Nessie X says sounds fishy. December says she's grabbing at straws. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. This is all a money grab. I'm sorry, lady, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, lady. And I must admit that I was biased from the get-go as soon as I saw her being represented by Ariel Mitchell. Because in my opinion, as of late, at least, because I don't know her previous history, but as of late, Ariel Mitchell seems to, take on nothing but liars and con artists as clients. That's just my opinion, at least from Courtney Burgess and Adria English's perspectives, or my perspective on those two. Okay, HCY Project says, yes, it's sketchy. Okay, I caught that too. Thank you. I absolutely agree. Jujubee said you heard it here first. Nessie X said she's not telling the whole truth. Right. Miss Sheila said, that doesn't sound right at all. Exactly. And as much as I can't stand Diddy, I'm not going to sit here and go along with this foolery because this just all sounds like a reach, like somebody just made up something at the end of the day. Nessie says, if something happened, it wasn't Diddy, I don't think. There's a lot of holes in her story. Right. Here's the thing. Miss Sheila said, when I heard it was that lawyer, I was like, here we go. Exactly, beloved. That's exactly what I was thinking. And did you see her sitting up there on News Nation with all that makeup caked on her face like she was ready for her own casket, no less, and then got up there and wouldn't say anything? And I'm like, girl, if you didn't bring her on here to tell us the scoop, why are you here? I mean, I think she just wants to be seen, heard, and talked about. Clearly clout chasing, honey. I'm sorry. It's a no for me. It is absolutely a no for me. I mean, I'm going to go through a little bit more of it just to be sure, but this just all sounds sketchy as hell. Okay, Gilda says, these people just want a money grab. Mess it up for the real victims. Yes, I'm not buying what she's selling, okay? Not with an EBT card. Okay, then talk about somebody stole her money. HCY said, not Diddy, she was robbed. Puffy wouldn't have robbed her. Okay, and then here's the thing. Who robs you in New York? Now I want you all to pay attention. And if anyone is in here from New York, you already know this is the truth. Who in the hell is robbing people up here in New York, honey? Up there in New York, and you're going to leave them $20? Or you're going to take all of it? Honey, if you get robbed in New York, they're taking all your coins and leaving you nothing but dust and lint. Please pay attention, honey. I know how they get down, honey. I've been there. Trust and believe. She would have left there with nary a coin. Okay, please. TC Dan said, you sounded like Judge Judy when you said, I don't believe you. Not Judge Judy. Okay, thank you, Dan. That made me laugh, beloved. And thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Honey, this lady needs to sit down. Okay, she needs to sit all the way down. Elle says she's yelling about everything except about where's my sister. Thank you, beloved. Exactly. Okay, lady, you didn't have anything else to say about your sibling who actually was the one who won. And then you went into the party without her. And then you're going to act like you didn't know she wasn't with you until you got in. Come on now. I'm not even here for any of this. Ryder said, LOL, not casket ready, queen. Yes, you saw all that makeup and rouge that she had on, honey. She didn't have on blush, honey. She had on what my mother and them used to put on back in the day, rouge. That's what they called it, honey. That's what she had on, honey. Or it looked like she may have taken a little bit of her lipstick and put it on there and just smeared it up, honey. But it was all a hot mess. Y'all saw her. Y'all saw her. But anyway, let me continue. Because this lady I think she's a liar who's lying, honey. But let me see if she has further proof. Let me just not go in on this lady, Laura, Queen Ahmadiyyah, sit down somewhere. Maybe the lady's telling the truth. Let me give her the benefit of the doubts. The RICO enterprise has functioned as a continuing unit and maintains an ascertainable structure separate and distinct from the pattern of racketeering activity. Notice how many times Ariel Mitchell has put the word RICO in here, okay? Now, I'm sorry, but back then, did Diddy have a RICO enterprise? This jurisdiction has criminally accused defendant Combs of engaging in racketeering, and both cases have similar fact patterns and descriptions of racketeering activities. Defendants decimated their concealed scheme to plaintiff in Oklahoma using interstate telephone wires and radio waves. This is clearly a reach. The true nature of defendant's enterprise was left undisclosed, was omitted, and or was affirmatively misrepresented. Also, to fraudulently increase defendant's profits, at least some of which were used to expand the enterprise, causing further injury to plaintiff and possibly many others. Sorry, you guys, but somebody needs to go and get Miss Ariel Mitchell and take her license. Somebody needs to go and collect Miss Ariel Mitchell and take her license. Okay, this is all nefarious. Now she needs to be reported to the licensing board. Okay, are y'all hearing this? HCY Project says Ariel has another lawsuit coming. Well, honey, I can't wait to hear this one. I absolutely can't wait to hear what she's coming up in the next one, because this is all real crazy. Now, the true nature of the defendant's enterprise was undisclosed, they say. Upon information and belief, defendants profited from the enterprise and used the proceeds from the enterprise to advance the enterprise by funding and operating their marketing machine, including through the use of mail, magazine coverage, word of mouth, and interstate wires to sell the illusion that defendant Combs was a serious and legitimate businessman who held exclusive parties and networking events that were safe and fun to attend, when nothing could be further from the truth. She says when nothing. I'm sorry, you guys, I should not be laughing. She says when nothing could be further from the truth. The only thing further from the truth is this lawsuit, okay? Robin Tillman said, what happened to her sister? I mean, that's what I would love to know. Okay? That's what I would love to know. And Arjumon said, sadly, I think the hospital is closed. It would have been good to see if the cameras caught who dropped her off. I don't know. This all sounds crazy. Black Queen Jack says, wait, really? The hospital is really closed down? Lord, help me. Okay? Roddy says, it's like we're getting desensitized to the word Rico. I remember when that was a scary word. I know, right? But now they're just tossing it about so cavalierly. Please pay attention. Anyway, let me continue. So it goes on to say, defendants Atlantic, Savas, K-Jams, Delta, and Hotel were a direct participant in the marketing aspect of the scheme, as it was defendant Atlantic's contest promotion executed by its employee, defendant Savas, the promotions coordinator with defendants Delta and defendant Hotel, providing travel and lodging. So you know what? Here's the thing. Listen, I'm calling cap. I'm sorry, I'm calling cap on this, because here's why. Now, she wants us to believe, Ariel Mitchell, that is. She wants us to believe that this woman, or no, not even the woman, she wants us to believe that Delta Airlines, that the radio station, the hotel that provided accommodations, that all of them were a part of some nefarious scheme to lure people out of the comfort of their own homes to New York with the hopes and dreams of going to a Diddy white party, which then turns into a black party, and then to have them graped and tossed about at a hospital, unbeknownst to them as to who did what. Y'all know this sounds crazy. Come on now. Y'all know this sounds crazy. Above all that drama said, I'm calling cap. And its mama. Okay? This is not making any sense. I'm sorry, this doesn't sound like this was a whole scheme to me. It sounds like even if something happened to her, I wouldn't go so far as to say that the radio station, Delta, and the hotel had anything to do with it. Now, upon information and belief, defendants each had the specific intent to participate in the overall RICO enterprise scheme, and each participated in the enterprise as follows. A, upon information and belief, defendants control and participate in the activities of the enterprise in a variety of ways as set forth herein, including but not limited to developing marketing campaigns to legitimize defendant Combs' parties to the general public. Upon information and belief throughout the relevant period, defendants Atlantic, K-Jams, Delta, and Hotel entered into a partnership agreement with defendant Combs and BBE as general business partners. Each member is responsible for the partner's actions in the partnership. Defendants have an ethical obligation to ensure their business partners were not using the partnership to engage in illegal activity. Defendants Atlantic, K-Jams, Delta, and Hotel provided resources to their general business partners, defendants Combs and BBE. Defendant Combs and BBE used the resources provided by their general business partners to entice the public to desire to attend his lavish and exclusive parties. Defendants Combs and his co-conspirators relied on the mail, World Wide Web, and telephone to disseminate the misleading information described herein. Defendants did not disclose to the individuals they solicited the fact that they would be drugged, assaulted, or battered while attending events sponsored by and starring defendants and their business. Defendants authorized the resources to their general business partner, defendant Combs, in furtherance of the goals of their conspiracy. Defendants used the contest promotion and party as a ruse, they say, to provide defendants Combs and BB. That. This is so ridiculous to me, you guys. I'm sorry for laughing, but it's absolutely hysterical. Okay? Not as a ruse. Goodness, okay, I can't breathe. Defendants used the contest promotion and party as a ruse to provide defendants Combs and BBE cover to disguise their covert RICO enterprise. Throughout the relevant period, defendants used their collective resources, relying on the mail, email, radio, and World Wide Web to disseminate the misleading information described herein. As the general business partner of defendants Combs and BBE, defendants are equally liable for the commission of these acts. Ooh, honey, I don't even want to read anymore. This is all going too far. Now they say, beginning at an exact date unknown to plaintiff, but within 10 years preceding the filing of this action, defendants have knowingly, willfully, and unlawfully participated in a pattern of racketeering activity that continues possibly to this day. The racketeering acts follow the same pattern and purpose to defraud the plaintiff for the defendant's benefit. Each racketeering act involved the same or similar methods of commission and participants. Defendants' business would not have succeeded without the repeated predicate acts and the ability to conduct their fraud using mail, telecommunications wires, interstate travel, and possibly money laundering. What does money laundering have to do with this? What does money laundering have to do with this? Measure Man says, wait, fly her out from where? Not the airlines. Is this lawyer opposition? Let me tell you something. This is all crazy is what it is, okay? This is absolutely nefarious as far as I'm concerned. TC Dan says fraud today, okay? Roddy says no face, no case, as they used to say. Measure Man, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Also, TC Dan, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings to you both. Listen, this just is all given fraud, okay? This is all given a reach. This is all given trying so desperately to get a bag. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to skip past all this because they're just being repetitive at this point, continuously talking about RICO, racketeering, a RICO enterprise, listing statutes. Now, wherefore plaintiff requests that the court issue an order and grant judgment to the plaintiff as follows. Grant plaintiff statutory common law and punitive damages and applicable pre- and post-judgment interest in full recompense of damages. Enter judgment according to the declaratory relief sought. Grant plaintiff such other and further relief including without limitation, injunctive and equitable relief as the court deems just in all the circumstances, and grant plaintiff an incentive or service award reflective of the work done in prosecuting this action, the time spent, the effort, and the hard costs invested, and results obtained in light of the court's judgment informed by awards in other similar cases of comparable difficulty and complexity. Plaintiff incorporates by references all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. As set forth above, the plaintiff Combs and Does did initiate non-consensual contact with plaintiff, did forcibly touch plaintiff, did drug plaintiff without her knowledge or consent, did intimidate and cause plaintiff's safety and security to feel threatened, and did assault and sexually battery plaintiff. Hold on, let me say this, because I just thought about something. You guys. Thank you, LeClaire E. Whitlock, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Okay, Auntie Leah says this is all so nefarious. It absolutely is, okay? And thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, let me say this. Here's the problem I have. Here is another problem I have. For one, this lady says that when she got home back to Oklahoma, that her vajayjay was hurting for a few days, and which led her to think that she had been, violated down there. Now, the question is, did they not check her vajayjay at the hospital? And even if they didn't know that was the reason she was dropped off there, when she came to, don't you all think that she would have still been in pain if the case were so, and that she would have mentioned that to the hospital staff? And if they had not checked her down there, that then they would? Once she said to them, wait a minute, hold up. And here's another thing. I have several more questions, because here's the thing. The hospital staff did not bother to call the police to report that some woman was dropped off here in a, she was passed out unconscious, her blouse ripped, wearing no underwear, seems that she had been possibly assaulted or raped, and she doesn't even know who brought her here or how she got here upon awaking. So they didn't call the police and file a police report. I have several questions, ma'am. This is not passing the smell test, ma'am. Somebody is a liar who lies, ma'am. Are y'all hearing this? Are y'all hearing this? Measure Man says, girl, they orchestrated an entire charity event that you didn't win to target you for nefarious activities. Oh, this is the big one. You hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey. Measure Man, you are so wrong for this. You are absolutely nefarious, okay? Then talking about, Measure Man's talking about it's funky. Okay? Thank you for your contribution to the channel and your insight into the topic, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings, honey. I'm coming to join Elizabeth too at this point, because this sounds like a whole lot of lies. Luna says they didn't call the police when Diddy whipped Cassie's ace. Well, here's the thing. Cassie was in her right frame of mind. She could have called the police herself. You see, she was coherent. This woman is alleging that she was not, that she was passed out, and that in fact, she woke up in the hospital not even knowing how she got there. You don't think if you were taken to the hospital, this is for anyone. Okay, Jamari Dion says, exactly, Queen, weakest link. Thank you, beloved. Okay, now here's the thing. And Measure Man says Cassie was not at the hospital. She was at the hotel. Now, and see, here's the thing. I want you all to think about this, because we really don't even need to use our critical thinking skills for this. As far as I'm concerned, we can just use our common sense. If you yourself, anyone in the chat, if you yourself woke up in the hospital, not realizing how you got there, remember that the last place you were was at some party with people you don't know because you just came from out of town. Wouldn't you ask the medical staff, excuse me, can you please tell me how I got here? Did I come here by ambulance? Did someone bring me? And if so, who? I don't remember a thing. Could you please take a toxicology report to test my blood? Because that's another thing. She thinks that she was drugged, but you mean to tell me the hospital staff didn't do a blood test? They didn't do a toxicology report to see if, in fact, she'd been given illegal substances? Come on now. This is not making any sense, and you guys all know it. You guys all know this isn't making any sense. Now, y'all went in on the poor little autistic woman. People went in on her and said she was a liar who lies. How come nobody's going in on this woman? This woman sounds like she's just sat around, watched some Diddy news on the TV and said, you know what? I've got receipts. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason she likely has those receipts is because she saved them for souvenirs. That's what I think, that she saved them for souvenirs, okay? Maybe she actually ended up in the hospital because she had too much to drink somewhere and had alcohol poisoning or something. I don't know. But first things first, why is it that the hospital paperwork is so small you cannot read it? Okay, you can barely see her name on it. Okay, I have several questions. And then nobody called the police. The hospital didn't do a blood test. I mean, the very least, here's the thing. At the very least, at the hospital, when you're brought in, now, if they don't do anything else, they're going to check your vitals, okay? They're going to check your vitals, like your blood pressure, okay? They're going to check your heart rate. They're going to put that little thing on your finger, all right, to check your oxygen levels. They're going to want a urine sample. Now, if she was passed out, they could have waited until she came to get one. They're going to draw your blood. Those are some of the things that they're going to absolutely do when you go to the hospital, especially if you end up, listen, if somebody is carried into the hospital or dropped off at the hospital, the person's unconscious, you don't think that the first things they're going to do after checking the vitals is they're going to start drawing blood? Because they need to find out what the hell's wrong with this person. This person can't tell them what's wrong because they're passed out. So we need to find out what's wrong. They could be in imminent danger. We may need to perform life-saving measures. So we have to find out exactly what's wrong with them. Andrew said she's telling the truth. I mean, she could be, but I have questions. She may be telling the truth, but I have questions. And when she woke up in the hospital with a sore of a JJ, she didn't bother to tell them about that. And then they could definitely have given her a great kit. I don't know. That's right. TC Dad said the Queen has questions. I absolutely do. Arjumon says she would have been discharged, as someone said. Where are the discharge papers? Exactly, because that would tell us exactly what they treated her for, you know, and if there was any need for follow-up once she arrived back in Oklahoma. And then she didn't even realize what hotel she went to. So you mean to tell me sitting in the lobby for so long that they had to have security escort her out or ask her to leave? She didn't tell the hospital staff, listen, I don't know how I got here. I don't know where my sibling is. I don't know anything. My money's been stolen. I don't have a way to get back to wherever I'm supposed to be going. She didn't have any of that information. And here's the thing. How did she not? I want you all to pay attention, because here's something that I really find interesting. Now, she said that she didn't even remember the name of the hotel that she stayed at. She literally looked in her purse and found a book of matches that told her what hotel she was at. Now, I don't believe that. And you know why I don't believe it? Because when she won the trip, her sibling, that is, and they were offered to go, she had the itinerary before she went. So when you have the itinerary, you know where your flight is, what time it's leaving, you know when your return flight is, and you know what hotel you're going to be staying at and what room and all of that. Do you not? And then they had to pay a deposit. So who paid for the deposit? Was it her or her sibling? She didn't have a phone number to get in touch with her sibling. Well, they did say cell phones weren't commonplace. But nonetheless, she did. How did she not know the name of the hotel that she was at? All of that should have been something that she had prior to even getting to New York, before even arriving there. Wouldn't you think? Because all of these things would have had to have been pre-planned and pre-booked. So how is it that she didn't remember the name of the hotel? Pretty Wing said too many holes in her story. The Grift Eyes Hard here says, well, then you know the attorney needs to figure this out. I mean, if the attorney is going to take the case, she better have her ish together. Ariel Mitchell Kidd is, to me, she just represents people who just make up lies. I think Ariel Mitchell Kidd just wants so desperately to be involved in the Diddy debacle. Noah Daniel said far-fetched. Exactly. I believe so. I absolutely believe so. Something's not right. Jamari says, why isn't the answer listed as a witness? You mean her sibling, right? Right. Where is the sibling? She's not mentioned that person anymore. Where is the sibling? Auntie Leah said Queen's third eye is looking. You already know. Luna says you don't have to call the police if you're rich. No, no, no. I'm not talking about anybody rich, Luna. I'm talking about the young woman. When the young woman was at the hospital and she woke up, because she said she was passed out, didn't remember how she got at the hospital or got to the hospital. So I'm saying when she woke up, beloved, why didn't she tell the staff, I don't know how I got here, and then start asking them questions as to who dropped her off? And then once telling them she didn't remember anything and that she felt that she was drugged, because that's what she's now saying. Okay. So why didn't she tell the hospital staff that? And you mean to tell me they wouldn't have taken a toxicology report, drawn her blood? They wouldn't have taken a great kid if she said her JJ was hurting and her underwear were missing and her shirt was ripped? She didn't tell them that, and they didn't call the hospital. They have the police. They have a duty to call the police. They don't have a choice but to call the police if someone comes in there with those type of complaints, not knowing how they got to their destination, saying that they believe that they've been drugged, the JJ hurting, underwear missing, blouse torn. We already see what that sounds like. So they have a duty to call the police. Otherwise, she could sue the hospital. They didn't take a toxicology report or anything. This is a lie. I'm telling you. I don't believe it. It's not adding up. Boss lady said the hotel is booked in advance, and you know the name. Exactly. I know it's booked in advance. Because I went on a talk show once years ago, and I'm not even going to say when because y'all will try to look it up. But anyway, I was on a talk show once, and everything was paid for and booked in advance, and I had all the information. I knew what hotel I was going to be at. I knew when my flight was leaving and coming back. So she could miss me with it. I'm not believing any of it. Sounds like a bunch of lies is all I'm saying. Above all that drama, says her story has moral holes than a sieve or a sieve. What's that? I didn't even know what that is, honey. It has more holes than a colander, I'll tell you that much. Arjumon said, date grape drugs mess with your memory. I know that. I know that, beloved. Clearly, we know that. Are y'all missing the point? Is this going over some of you guys' heads? Are y'all listening to the queen? What I'm saying is, yes, if her memory was gone because of the date grape drugs that she alleges to have been given, the point of the matter is, why didn't she tell the hospital that? Why didn't she tell the medical staff that she didn't remember anything, that she thought she had been drugged, that she thought she had been raped? Why didn't she tell them that is all I'm saying. And why didn't they then take a grape kit, okay? And why didn't they also draw blood and do a toxicology report? And third, call the police. Okay, it's not that hard. It's not that hard, okay? Sheila said, how is this Delta's fault? Right. It's like blaming McDonald's because a person gets fat. It makes no sense. Exactly. That's how you know it's a whole grift. I'm not falling for it. This is all BS, honey. I don't have time for this foolishness. This lady got me sitting on here wasting my darn time reading this frivolous lawsuit. She needs to sit down somewhere. She needs to sit down somewhere. HCY Project says they would have questioned her. Exactly. Honey, this ain't making sense. This is not not making a bit of sense. Jeff ATL says, I can't wait to find out what show it was. Jeff ATL, sit down. You're never going to find out what show it was because it's not even on air anymore. And I'm never going to tell. Okay? I am never going to tell, honey. Okay, so anyway, this is all crazy. This is all crazy. Sig K4X says, love Queen because she loves everyone. Thank you, beloved. I sure do. Ebony Queen said, Ariel is a grifting attorney. I absolutely agree with you on that, beloved. I absolutely agree. Barbary World Happy says, you forgot she is a black woman. I didn't forget she's black. What are you talking about? Don't go there. Don't go playing the black card. What does that have to do with anything? Because she's black, I'm supposed to believe her lies? You sound crazy. Don't come here with that bullish. That's a good way to get roasted. Because at the end of the day, Lumisha Fuller is a black woman. Adria English is a black woman. Courtney Burgess is a black man. But all three of them are liars who lie. They're liars who lie. Okay, I'm sorry. Please make it all make sense. Don't come in here guilt tripping me. That's what some of these people do. They come in here trying to guilt trip the queen because I don't agree with them. I don't have to agree with you, beloved, and nor do you have to agree with the queen. Now, if you think this woman's story makes sense, then that's fine. I applaud you, but I don't. And that's just what it is. That's where I'm at with it. Okay, that's where I'm at with it. Barbary World Happy says, sometimes they think she a prostitute and don't treat us the same. Honey, let me tell you something. It's not about how they treated her. Here's the thing, and I absolutely agree with you on that, beloved. Yes, I absolutely agree with you on that. But here's my question. Even if they didn't give a damn to call the police or to ask her further questions, she could speak for herself, okay? When she woke up, like I said, and realized she didn't have an underwear and all these other things, she could simply have told the hospital, and it is their duty to call the police and report these things, okay? That's just the way it is. She could have sued the hospital otherwise. Also, at the end of the day, why didn't she say anything about her vajayjay hurting when she was at the hospital? She says that when she got back to Oklahoma, it was hurting for days, leading her to think that she was assaulted and had forceful intercourse. So why didn't she say that at the hospital? That's my point. We're not talking about what the medical staff alone may have noticed. I'm talking about why didn't she say any of these things to them? And if she did say any of these things to them, how come it's not in the lawsuit? How come she's saying stuff like, you know, her private was hurting. She thought she was drugged. She thought she had forceful intercourse. Well, if she'd had them take the test, she would have known for a fact. Because if they take a grape kit, they can tell if that happened to you. And then they'd also have the perpetrator's DNA, more likely than not. Okay, she didn't want to take an STD kit or an STD test or whatever. If she thought that happened to her, how did she know the person didn't give her something? I mean, I just have several questions. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't get mad at me because I have questions. Now, y'all can believe whatever y'all want to believe, but when stuff doesn't make sense, I'm going to ask questions, okay? That's what I'm going to do. And at the end of the day, you know, as I told you guys, I went to school for criminal justice, okay? So I think about how people do things and I have questions, okay? I don't just listen to what people say. I have several questions. Now, Measure Man said because the hospital needs to be named for liability. Exactly. She's suing everybody else. She's suing Delta. She's suing the hotel. Okay. Now, they say the hospital's no longer in existence, though. They say it's no longer in existence. So that's why she's not suing them, supposedly, I guess. But she didn't even bother to mention them. And where is her sibling throughout all of this? She didn't talk to her sibling about it on the flight back, saying, girl, you know, I think somebody raped me when I was in there. I ended up at the hospital. I don't even know what happened. When she got back to the hotel, she didn't see her sibling and talk to them. She doesn't even mention them anymore. She doesn't even mention them any further after she said she went into the party and no longer saw them. Sean H. says she's a liar, child. I'm inclined to believe so. Okay, I'm inclined to believe so. Okay, I'm just not falling for it, honey. This is she's gonna need to bring some more facts for me. Now, like I said, y'all know I don't like Diddy and I want him to pay for everything he's allegedly done. But this, I don't believe it. Now, let me continue though. Okay, so anyway, it goes on to say, as set forth above, the defendant Combs and Doe's did initiate non-consensual contact with plaintiff, did forcibly touch plaintiff, did drug plaintiff without her knowledge or consent, did intimidate and cause plaintiff's safety and security to feel threatened, and did assault and sexually battery plaintiff. Defendants made offensive bodily contact with plaintiff, constituting harmful and offensive contact to plaintiff's person. She said contact was done intentionally by defendants and without plaintiff's consent or legal justification. As alleged herein, defendants' acts against plaintiff created a reasonable apprehension and plaintiff of immediate harmful or offensive contact to plaintiff's person. Said acts were done intentionally by the plaintiff or by the defendants and without plaintiff's consent or legal justification. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. And then goes on to say, as a result of the foregoing, plaintiff was caused to sustain physical, psychological, and emotional injuries, pain and suffering, shame, embarrassment, humiliation, damage to reputation, has been caused to incur pecuniary losses, and was otherwise damaged. Hold on. How did this mess up her reputation? How did this mess up her reputation? Because nobody knew anything about this but her, apparently, and her sibling, I guess. But this right here, the stabbing of someone over a darn DVD player, that didn't ruin her reputation? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This lady is a crook. This lady is a whole crook, you guys. You're right. This lady is a crook, and I don't believe her. I think this is a whole grip. Oh my God, you are crazy. Hold on. LeClaire says, if she was knocked out, how would she know who assaulted her? Could have been whoever dropped her off. Well, here's the thing, beloved. I want you to pay attention. That's true. But she conveniently points to Diddy in so much as by saying that some strange woman, unbeknownst to her, or she has no knowledge of who the woman's identity is, says some strange woman called her upon her return to Oklahoma and told her she better keep her mouth shut because Diddy's a celebrity and no one believed her anyway. Well, first of all, I don't believe that story either, because like I told you guys, why didn't the lady call her when she was still in New York? Why didn't the lady call her? Because they would have known if it was Diddy's people doing this calling, they would surely have known when she checked out of the hotel, because they're the ones who in fact made the arrangements. So they would have known when she was going to be out of there to go on her flight back to Oklahoma. So why would they wait till she was back in Oklahoma to call her? And why would they implicate Diddy by saying his name? I think that she made that story up just to tie Diddy to it, because she really doesn't know who did it, if in fact anything even happened. This is all crazy as far as I'm concerned, okay? It just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. At the end of the day, okay? Sean H says she's trying to pull a Ponzi scheme. You all are something else. But, let me be quiet, because I wouldn't want anyone to think that I was victim blaming or shaming. Okay, so Sig K4X says truth always comes out. Right. L says, as Tamar says, lies. Okay? Absolutely. Ebony Queen said this is a grift. I absolutely agree. RG Titan threw up the red flag, honey. This is all crazy. This is all. Buckhorse DC says they are lawless. Aqua Girl Rising said this lady is a crook. Okay. M says, I don't do pigmentation. It's not a reason for anything. It could be anyone, just stupid. I mean, it could be anyone. At the end of the day, listen, I don't believe this lady's story. I don't believe it. Tough Media Production says Ariel Mitchell and Busby do the most, LOL. Yeah, they do. But at least in Busby's case, I think he's on to something. Measure Man says she needs to sue the Uber driver or whomever drove her there. She needs to sue the phone company, sue the computer she booked flights on, the people that checked her tickets. Measure Man, now you know you are being nefarious for that. And they probably didn't even have Uber back then, okay? But seriously, she's suing all these people that clearly didn't have anything to do with it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how she's holding the radio station to blame, accountable, and saying that they were all in on this nefarious scheme. Okay? And thank you for your insight to the topic, Measure Man, and your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, this is all crazy. Roddy says, sounds like East Coast lies, LOL. Ebony Queen said, this harms the real victims. Exactly. That's why, I don't care what race somebody is. If I think you're lying, I'm going to call you out on it. Period. I don't have to agree with somebody just because they're Black, and people need to get off that foolishness. At the end of the day, that makes no sense. Gary Wright says, did Ariel Mitchell get her law degree from the Twilight Zone? Okay. HCY Project says she never once said she met Puffy. Right. RG Titan said Busby is playing chess while Jay-Z's lawyer is playing Yahtzee. Shaking my head. Exactly, honey. He's playing the game of life, the old version. Okay, this is all crazy. TC Dan said every village has its idiots. But let's continue, because so far I'm just not believing this. Now, goes on to say, in as much as defendant was acting for, upon, and or in furtherance of the enterprise, defendants BBE and Atlantic are liable under the doctrine of respondent superior for the torturous actions of its defendant actors. As a result of the foregoing, plaintiff was caused to sustain physical, psychological, and emotional injuries, pain and suffering, shame, embarrassment, humiliation, damage to reputation, has been caused to incur precautionary losses, and was otherwise damaged. Plaintiff incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. The offenses alleged herein resulted in whole or in part due to the failure of defendants BBE, Atlantic, and KJAMS to employ qualified persons for positions of authority and or to train and supervise the conduct of such persons during their employment and or to promulgate appropriate policies and procedures either formally or by custom, properly, or contentiously. Defendants were negligent in their hiring, training, retention, supervision, direction, control, appointment, and or promotion of their employees, agents, and or servants, including but not limited to each of the defendants named herein. I'm sorry, this lady doesn't have a leg to stand on. This is frivolous. Okay, I'm sorry, this is absolutely frivolous. Oh, I'm getting tired just reading all these lies. I'm really just getting worn out. The appellate division has held that sexual assault is an act of gender-motivated violence under the law, as coerced sexual activity is dehumanizing and fear-inducing. Malice or ill will based on gender is apparent for the alleged commission of the act itself. Listen, this lady might be as violent as Diddy, as far as I'm concerned. She out here stabbing people over DVD games, honey. I don't have time for it. I mean, over DVD players. No, I'm not even here for it. Okay? I'm not even here for it. Thus, defendant Combs knew or should have known that plaintiff was incapable of consenting to sexual contact and or sexual conduct. Defendant's actions presented a serious risk of physical injury to plaintiff's person, regardless of whether or not those acts resulted in criminal charges, prosecution, or conviction. Furthermore, defendants BBE, Atlantic, Savas, Delta, KJAMS, Hotel, and Doze enable Combs' commission of the crimes of violence motivated by gender and thus are liable under the NYC Victims of Gender Motivated Protection Act. Lady, please sit down somewhere. Okay? I'm not even going for it. Now, here's what she wants. She wants punitive damages. Okay, declares defendant Combs engaged in unlawful practices prohibited in New York by city New York City victims of gender motivated violence. Okay, goes on to say she wants compensatory damages for mental and emotional injury, distress, pain, and suffering, and injury to her reputation, consequential damages, lost wages, earning, and all other sums of money, together with interest or those amounts in and amounts to be proven. So she couldn't go to work? Oh, lady, stop. Awards plaintiff damages against defendants joint and severally. Awards plaintiff punitive and exemplary damages according to proof. Awards plaintiff attorneys fees, costs, and expenses incurred in the pursuance of this action. Excuse me. Awards prejudgment and post-judgment interest. And awards plaintiff such other and further relief as the court may deem equitable and proper. Yeah, this is all just, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. This sounds like a load of BS. Now I see why she kept her mouth shut on that fake interview, because that wasn't an interview. She didn't even say 2 words. The sexual assault, battery, and misconduct by defendants were extreme and outrageous conduct that shocks the conscience. First of all, I want you all to pay attention to this. How in the world does she know what kind of assault it was if she doesn't remember? Okay, listen, let me read that to you all again. Are you all hearing this? The sexual assault and battery and misconduct by defendants were extreme and outrageous conduct that shocks the conscience. These acts were taken with the intent to cause or disregard from the substantial probability of causing severe emotional distress. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's extreme and outrageous conduct, plaintiff has suffered severe emotional distress. Defendant's conduct, specifically defendant Combs, was wanton, malicious, willful, and cruel, entitling the plaintiff to punitive damages. How does she know any of this when she said she doesn't even know who did it? When she said she doesn't even remember. Oh, Lord have mercy. This lady is just nefarious as far as I'm concerned. I want you all to pay attention. So what do you all have to say about it all? What do you all have to say about it all, honey? Let's have a brief word from my sponsor while I collect my thoughts and try to figure this all out real quick.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Uh-oh, this is all crazy. Okay, so what are you guys thinking? Because I'm just not, I'm just, and I want to believe, that the victims are telling the truth, but in this case, I just don't. And speaking of telling the truth, this morning or earlier today, when I was talking to you guys and I was reading that lawsuit, or not the lawsuit, when I was reading the complaint filed by Alex Spiro against Tony Busby, trying to basically get Jay-Z's name removed from the case. Well, I told you all that FAC stood for failure to answer a citation. Well, why I said that? It does stand for that, but it also stands for First Amended Complaints. Okay, and that's the definition that was accurate in that filing. Because remember, Tony Busby amended the complaint to add Jay-Z's name. I'm sitting here talking about failure to answer a citation. That's what they give you on the side of the road when you get a ticket and you don't go to court to answer for it. Okay, I need to sit down somewhere. Okay, I need to have sat down somewhere when I said that. So Terry Hinn says, I have a headache from this story. Honey, I do too. HCY Project says it will be tossed. Listen to Roddy. Roddy says, thanks, Queen Ahmadiyyah, for this very entertaining lawsuit. You know what? I'll have to quote the words of Tony Busby. This lawsuit filing was very histrionic. Okay? Just like Busby said that Jay-Z is very histrionic, so is that lawsuit, meaning that it's very dramatic, okay? Theatrical nonetheless. Please pay attention. Juju's laughing at me, said, not fair to answer a citation. Yes, when I'm sitting up here reading it, that's what I told you guys. But no, like I said, FAC stands for several things pertaining to law. And in this case, it was first admitted complaint, honey. I don't know what I was thinking about. See, this is why I go back and watch my videos, because I often, and I'm not going to say often, but sometimes I misspeak, okay? Now, with that all being said, Poison Ivy says, you are cute. Can't believe you're dragging yourself. Yes, honey, I absolutely will. Sometimes the queen needs to be dragged. Okay. You all should have done it for me when I said it. Okay. But so anyway, Noah Daniel says sinister. Okay. So that all been said. And here's the thing. At least I can admit when I'm wrong. Some people wouldn't even have come back and corrected that. Okay. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, they have put out all of this information about BuzzFeed. Basically, they came out saying BuzzFeed was giving people STDs. The lawsuit was filed, and BuzzFeed seems to think that Jay-Z's team had something to do with that filing. They also came out days ago and said BuzzFeed had a DWI, honey. It's all crazy. I mean, they're just throwing all this stuff at the wall to see what sticks. And I'm going to tell you all something else, too. 50 Cent came out and called out J-Lo. So let me just pull up that video. I'm not going to show the video, but I will play the audio because I don't have permission. But 50 Cent called out J-Lo as being celebrity B. And let me tell you all something. Let me tell you all something. Okay, Sid K4X says she's supposed to be responsible. Exactly. Okay. Now here's the thing. It was no mistake. That Alex Spiro mentioned J-Lo's name at least 3 times in that filing complaint, okay? And trying to get Jay-Z's name dismissed. It's no mistake that he did that. Here's the thing. If it is J-Lo, I'm not even going to say it was her. I think it was. But whomever that person was, Celebrity B, they likely have either already settled with Tony Busby and the accuser behind closed doors so their name wouldn't be entered in as evidence, or they wouldn't be dragged into this mess. Now, by the fact that Alex Spiro has now listed J-Lo's name in the filing at least 3 times, that was a strategic move by him. That was a strategic move. And a friend of mine, who's an attorney or very versed in the law at least, said that that's what they call the wagon train tactic. I believe that's what it's called. It's like in those old Western movies when the cowboys are chasing the Indians or the Indians are chasing the cowboys and they're in the little wagon and they're throwing everything out. That's basically what Alex Spiro was doing. Okay? That's basically what he was doing. Because why did he have to call J-Lo's name? She had not even been mentioned. Okay? She had not even been mentioned. All right? That was a move. Because basically, what if J-Lo has decided to talk against Jay-Z? Who knows if she's, agreed to say something? Or let's not forget that she could be called as a witness. She could be called as a witness. Now, let's not forget that nefarious man who's been sitting in prison all this time for numerous S assaults, allegedly, who's also accusing Diddy of S assaulting him in 1997, said that J-Lo holds the key. That he thinks that she holds the key and that he wants to call her as a witness, as I told you all on last night. Derek Cordello Smith is his name. But also, what if J-Lo is to be called as a witness, in this case against Jay-Z and Diddy? So Alex Spiro absolutely knew what he was doing when he put her name out there, okay? That was no mistake. He knew exactly what he was doing, and that was very calculated. All right, that was very calculated. That is a tactic often used by very astute attorneys. Okay, they do such things. Now, I want you all to pay attention to that. Now, with that all being said, let's get into what 50 had to say about J-Lo. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Because I reshared this video on Twitter earlier. And as I said, I'm going to use an overlay because I don't have permission to use this. Let me share my screen. Okay, here we go. Likes up, everyone. Please do not forget to like and share. Please do not forget to like and share. It's very important that you guys like the video. It's the least you can do. And don't you all clown the picture that I have of 50 Cent. All right? That's the picture I like of 50 Cent, so y'all can sit down somewhere.
It was just yesterday. I was just seeing it. That they saying the third person that was there to witness this this thing in the Diddy case, the lawsuit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I heard
Jay was Jennifer. And they were saying,
no.
It was Jennifer Lopez. The female that they said was there, they're saying it's Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, the unnamed female.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Now look, when you say this,
Allegedly, Amanda.
when you say look,
Man is working overtime.
oh shit, what just happened?
Bro, the Jewish anxiety corner in this room is percolating right now.
Okay, so he's alleging that it's J-Lo. 50 Cent claims that Jennifer Lopez is the unnamed female celebrity who was in the room with Diddy, Jay-Z, and the anonymous accuser. P. Diddy and Jay-Z are accused in a civil lawsuit. Okay, so, and then they say allegedly and allegedly. So with that all being said, yeah, I absolutely think it was J-Lo. I absolutely think that it was. But as for this lady right here, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, I don't believe her. I just don't. I just don't. With that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Hotep Sahadi said, the reason he is always going at Diddy is because Diddy was the one who was supposed to have deflowered his... Honey, please stop. Now, y'all not going to sit here and say that about 50 Cent. I don't think 50 Cent did any such thing, beloved. I don't think so. Gary says, J-Lo, what's the bull crap? She says, if you don't know, now you know, okay? Okay. At the end of the day, honey, I don't think 50 Cent did any such thing, honey. Miss AP said, going back over replay, Queen. Okay, thank you, beloved. All right. Measure Man, stop being petty. Talking about what brand DVD player was it? Thank you, Queen. You are hilarious. Thank you, beloved. Okay. With that all being said, listen. M said a Panasonic. Okay? Not a Panasonic. Hotep Sahadi said, come on, Queen. You know those love letters were circulating about 50 and Eminem back in the day. Come on, girl. Were they? Honey, I don't know anything about it, honey. I don't know anything about it. I just know 50 Cent looks like a whole big sexy man is all I'm saying. Is all I'm saying to further notice, okay? I have not heard any such things of nefariousness about 50 Cent. Y'all not going to be in here slandering 50 Cent. That's what y'all not going to be doing. CK for exit because I do enjoy listening to you. Thank you, beloved. Okay, y'all not going to be sitting up in here talking about 50 Cent, honey, in the Queen's chat. That's what you're not going to do. Blasphemous. You damn demons. Okay, Ginger B said, we love you too, Life Queen. Thank you, beloved. I love you all to life too. Okay, now y'all leave 50 Cent alone. Let me put that picture up one more time before I go to sleep. Say what now? Y'all know 50 hasn't done any such thing. Y'all stop hating on him. Okay? Please pay attention. You know, and I also love the fact that 50 Cent is the only man that I know that's just as petty as I am. All right? TC Dan said, Queen don't play about her man, honey. Okay, sit down somewhere. TC Dan, that's not my man, honey. My man's asleep right about now. But no, I do like 50 Cent though. And y'all need to leave him alone because 50 Cent wouldn't do such a thing. Look, I'm sitting here caping for 50 after I told you guys, y'all don't know these people in real life after I went in on y'all. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, hold on. Hotep Sahadi said, those arms are for lifting up men, not women. I don't believe a word of it. Hotep Sahadi, why are you hating on 50 cents? Now I'm going to do to you what the trolls do to me. Why are you hating on this black man? Why are you going to talk about this black man like that? Measure Man said, Gonna take you to the candy shop, LOL. Y'all need to sit down somewhere. Let me stop joking around, honey. Okay, let me stop joking around before I get myself in trouble. With that all being said, him said 50 pence. Not 50 pence. Somebody said, no, we playing Queen. I know y'all are, and I am too, but y'all are nefarious. Y'all need to sit down somewhere. No, but I do think 50 Cent is sexy. Okay? I absolutely do. Now, with that all being said, hold on. Lee Clara said 50 coming with a new series in 2025. It's going to be as hot as he is. Stay tuned. Honey, you know I watch all of 50 Cent's public productions, honey. Every last one. Okay? I'm glued. I am glued. Look at Dan talking about I'm hollering. Perplex said, go to bed, Queen Royals. We are nefarious indeed. Absolutely, honey. We have the most nefarious chats and channel on ScrewTube. Okay, make no mistake. Anyway, I love you all to life, okay? Red White Entertainment said, Queen, love and abundance got me crying over here, okay? With that all being said, I love y'all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this night. Okay, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got